Good morning. Good morning, Naman. I think we'll just wait a while and then we'll get started off. A very good morning to you. A very good morning to all of you. So we'll just start off in just about a minute more. And really nice to see all of you here. So where are you all based out of? Good morning to everyone. And Rakesh is a little hungry, so we have got a food morning from him. So that's also good. Raipur, good morning. Okay. So good things happening in our city. We'll have some relaxations from tomorrow onwards. Okay, Sweta from Sarepalli, I think you have it good. You don't have too much of a problem right now. Things are relatively easier to handle over there. We will probably have an emergence from our current round of lockdown by tomorrow. No problem, Rakesh. I'm always hungry, in fact. So always a good thing to see somebody else also thinking about food. Mahasamund, Yogesh, okay, nice place. Again, you also don't have the same lockdown issues that we currently have over here. But let us see how things work out tomorrow. It has been a trying and challenging time. And good to see that many of us over here are, oh, well, Kritika, you are from my Sasural. So you are from Jashur. Good. Um, Good morning, everyone. So we have a short session planned today, which is around the importance of technical knowledge. And specifically, we'll talk about the technical knowledge and importance of it in entrepreneurship. I'll make it a little broad also. I'll just not talk about the importance as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, but also in terms of general life and where technical knowledge is going to take you. Okay. So what are the branches that you are in, all of you? Just a few indicators. MBA, civil, mechanical, MBA, HR and finance, a lot in civil, computer science, civil again, ET&T, okay, civil, nice, good, and pharmacy, okay. So we have a mix. We have a lot of civil engineers, a lot of MBAs. We have some from CS, some from mechanical, and also from pharmacy. Good to see so many people who are civil. The rest of us are not very civil. Okay. Now, let me, the topic for the day is about what is the importance of technical knowledge as we are going forward in our lives, in our professional lives, and I will particularly relate it to entrepreneurship. So just to give you a small introduction about myself, I teach entrepreneurship. I teach at XLRI in Jamshedpur, and I have been an entrepreneur in the past. I have been an entrepreneur for about 10 years. And after that, I have been teaching entrepreneurship for another 15 odd years. I make a lot of incubators. And very particularly, I think half of my work is in India and the other half of my work is usually abroad. So I usually split my time between India and abroad. And I seriously think that entrepreneurship is an extremely important part of our society and of our economy. And I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of entrepreneurship going forward. Okay. So broadly, now, if I ask you a major question, we have COVID right now, and there have been a lot of restrictions because of COVID, and a few things have also come to the fore because of COVID. There are some different ways in which we are doing things because COVID has come around. One of the things, of course, is where we are over here, the increased use of internet for a lot of things, whether it is for webinars, whether it's for regular classes. Also, we are seeing the importance of the internet when it comes to things like just buying things. We go and buy things from a shop, so that's why we end up needing the internet. A lot of medicines are getting delivered on the net now, so the net has become very important. That is one, and a lot of things have actually gone away. Just about 6 months back, one of the great startups in India was Book My Show. Now there's no need for any Book My Show. Book My Show has been completely off the picture for the last 6 months now. There is absolutely no movement over there. Similarly, a lot of other travel-related apps which are there, and a lot of weeks ago, whether we are talking about Make My Trip, all of those have gone away, including Oyo, Airbnb. They're facing a lot of problem on those fronts. So in addition to that, there have been a few other industries which are facing problems. And also, people are working from home. People are doing a lot of things which they had not done earlier. So even real estate, even a very solid industry like real estate is in trouble right now. Now, I want to take it to yet another groove. And I want to ask you, what exactly do you think is going to be the path forward? What is it going to become very important from now on? For your specific fields, for example, civil engineering, for example, computer science, what exactly do any of you think is going to be a major change happening going forward? So tell me, what are the major changes you see happening? Digital marketing, yes. Anything else? Okay. Now, um, let me give you a scenario. In 1922, there was an ad in the New York Times which said that only people with a college degree need apply. That was the earliest known instance where somebody had asked for somebody's educational qualification before giving a job. That was the first time that this had happened. That somebody was asking that if you want to apply for this job, you better have some degree with you. Before that, nobody had ever asked for a degree before you apply for a job. So this was in 1922. It's not even been 100 years. And now we again see a situation where a few companies are getting unbothered about whether people have a degree or not when they are taking people for the job. So if you want to apply for, let us say, something like a Google, Google is one of the largest employers in the world and certainly one of the most sought after employees in the world. And if you want to apply to Google for a job, they will not ask you your educational qualifications. They have a lot of fields you can actually apply online also. They have a lot of fields where you can actually put down what you want to apply for and what exactly are your credentials, but not educational credentials. They will figure out a way in which they are going to test you for the technical skills and the other skills that you have and then see if you're the right fit, but they'll not ask you for the educational qualification. And yes, Pooja, you have said a very interesting thing that your family business is getting onto an online platform. So many businesses we are seeing now which are getting onto online platforms. Businesses we never thought are going to be online are now online. Even if we are booking a bus ticket now for going from Raipur to Nagpur or from Raipur to Hyderabad, we end up booking it on the net. We don't feel like going actually to the bus stand, which was the old system, and then seeing where the tickets are available, then bargaining with the people over there, and then buying a ticket. We do it online more often than not. Similarly, railways almost 100% online now. A lot of things a lot of products that we buy are actually online. Amazon and Flipkart are actually where we are buying products from. It's no longer the local kirana shop or the local supermarket all that much. It is here that we are buying things from. Okay, now um, if we look at our technical skills, the ones which are going to be important when we are going to start off an enterprise. So, which are the good startups that you can think about, the great startups that the world has seen? Probably the biggest names, what are the ones that you can come up with? The most prominent startups in the world. Facebook, Ola, Uber. Yes. So you see, in many of these startups, you will find Amazon also, yeah, um, Oyo. In many of these startups, you'll find that the person who is the entrepreneur who has actually been leading it is somebody who is the one who possesses the technical skills also. Some of the examples, of course, are of people who do not have the direct technical skills and have employed other people who have the technical skills. But a large number are those who directly possess the technical skills. Going to the first generation of startups, we'll talk about Microsoft. Yes, it was Bill Gates who was actually the coder over there. If we talk about Apple, Wozniak and Steve Jobs, both of them were actually technically qualified and coders themselves. That is why they managed to do what they do. Look at Google, Sergey Brin and Larry Page. They actually made the algorithm which resulted in Google being what it is. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg actually did the original coding for that particular page. So we are looking at a lot of startups. Of course, on the other side, you have Oyo, who is not technically qualified, and then you have who else? Ola, actually, yes, he's technically qualified. He was an engineer who did the coding himself for the first round of that. Um, what else? Amazon, he was not technically qualified. He was actually a finance guy and he did not know much about technology, but he learned a lot. In fact, right now he knows about four of the major languages. So he does C++, he does programming. So he has a lot of technical knowledge which he has picked up along the way. Elon Musk of Tesla, he again is somebody who's not only technically proficient, but he's also probably good in terms of his technical proficiency. So a lot of these examples are of entrepreneurs who are actually very good at the technical aspects of their job. Broadly, there are three kinds of things you need to bring to the table. One is your technical knowledge. Second is your soft skills. So it is communication. So it is your personality. It is your determination. It is your empathy, your ability to understand others, and all of those things come in the soft skills that you have. Your ability to work in a team, your ability to lead, all those things come in over here. The other group, the third thing that you need to have over here is simply the attitude. It is your confidence. It is your self-determination, your self-efficacy. All of these are attitudes. These are not either soft skills or hard skills, but that also you need if you want to become an entrepreneur. There was a report by something called Startup Genome. This was a long time back. This was about 5 years back when they interviewed a lot of successful entrepreneurs and tried to find out what exactly works and what exactly does not work. So, in that study, they found that most successful enterprises have one technical founder and one non technical founder. So there should be somebody who's taking care of marketing, management, and everything else. And there is another group of people who should be taking care of, let us say, everything to do with the technology. And when I say technology, it does not mean only coding or only computer science related or similar technologies. Technology can be hard knowledge of any sort. So suppose you are a fintech startup, you want to start a new insurance company, or you want to start off a new way of uh, transferring payments, then finance and the field of finance is also technical knowledge over here. So suppose you are a finance professional, you are a chartered accountant, you are an MBA with a specialist on finance, that is technical knowledge you're bringing to the table. Suppose you want to start a logistics startup, you want to work with buses and you want to see how the buses are going to probably go from point A to point B. So if you are a operations management person, that is the technical knowledge you bring over there. How should buses be scheduled? What should be the optimum wait times? All of those things come in over here. Um, there are a lot of technologies that we can have, and you know, any ideas? What might be the technologies which are going to be the most important going forward? Which are the technologies you think are going to be most important going forward? Things that you need to know about. Any ideas? Okay. IoT, electric cars, artificial intelligence. A lot of you are saying artificial intelligence. So Pooja, Himanshu, all of you agree that artificial intelligence is one technology. Gautam is talking about Tushar and Gautam talk about electrical vehicles. Pankaj also talks about artificial intelligence. Durga, Durgesh, yes. So artificial intelligence is one. Uh, I'll tell you another technology over here, which is also very important. Have any of you heard about artificial artificial biology? Artificial biology is when you are able to get into, you can say, human cells and the human DNA and make changes at a sub nuclear level. When you are looking at making changes at a subcellular level, that comes into artificial biology. So you have a lot of new kinds of plants coming up. That is one. You might have a lot of new microorganisms coming up. For, let's say, there have been a lot of changes in a lot of bacteria. A lot of yeasts are usually changed. So you have that is where most of the experimentation is happening. At some point of time, this technology is also being used to cure people of diseases by eliminating diseases at the DNA level itself. So that is another amazing thing that people are doing. So there's a lot of biotech going on, and within biotech, there is artificial biology, which is probably taking the front seat. That is another important and interesting technology going on over here. People have talked about electric cars also as one of the promising technologies. I'll expand on that a little bit. So I'll tell you of my experience about 3 years back. I went to the Google office in San Francisco, and there I got an occasion to ride in a driverless car. So it was this phone actually. It was not this one, the one I had before this one. So what they did was they just took my phone, installed an app on this, and then I sat in the car. They attached my phone to the dashboard of the car with just a USB drive. And dashboard of the car does not have any steering wheel. There are no brakes, no accelerators, nothing. It's just a dashboard. That's it. And that car, I put in the destination that I wanted to go to. I just wanted to go to a coffee shop. And the car went out of the parking, went into the main street of San Francisco, traveled for a good distance of about 3 or 4 kilometers, parked right in front of the shop that I had indicated that I want to go to for a coffee. And we went in, had a coffee. I was completely amazed. And then we came out, again sat in the car, again pushed in the destination that we want to go back to Google X Office. So we went back, and I was really amazed that they have completely eliminated the need for drivers. I know it's probably going to be very difficult to do the same in India. They'll probably get smashed somewhere or other. But these are technologies which are coming in, which are going to change mobility. You have heard about Hyperloop, right? That is going to probably be the first one is likely to be installed between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. It is going to be ultra fast ground level transportation. Then we have, of course, electric cars of all sorts. India has already said that we are going to be all electric cars by 2025. And in fact, there are countries which have said that we are going to have our cities completely free of drivers by 2030. And actually, there's a couple of cities who have said that we'll achieve it by 2025. We don't want driving in the city at all. We'll only have autonomous cars. So all these are technologies which are going to go for the future, but there is yet one more technology which I would like to talk about. AI, obviously, everybody knows AI by itself. Right now, in the phase where you have companies which are specializing in AI, I think very quickly we are going to move on to the phase that AI is something that everybody needs to do. It's not going to be a specific set of companies. Like, for example, if you look at the internet right now, you don't have internet companies. Everybody is into the net. Some are more and some are less. Similarly, I think what is going to happen in AI is all companies are going to become AI companies. Some will be a little more and some will be a little less. That is the only thing. Yes. Yes, Himanshu, India also has a startup which is working on Hyperloop, but we are a distance away from actually achieving something. In the case of Tesla's Hyperloop, which they are implementing in Dubai, they have already started the physical work, so it's likely to come up a little sooner. There are a lot of people working on it. There are a lot of people, and we are hopeful that our startups over here, which are working on Hyperloop, both in Bangalore and in Mumbai, are going to come up with interesting results soon. Another interesting technology which has come up is completely changing the way computing was being done. So we have now what is called quantum computing. It has completely changed the pace and the volume of computing. So quantum computing combined with AI, and because the nature of AI is such that it needs a lot of computing power, if you combine the two, it is going to be amazingly important for the world going forward. These are three technologies which I'm extremely hopeful are going to probably be very important going forward. Two other technologies I would like to also talk about. I think somebody mentioned earlier that IoT is going to be important, specifically when we are talking about 5G and what it can do. It is going to enable IoT in a variety of things. We are going to have intelligent luggage, we are going to have intelligent doors, we are going to have intelligent washing machines, intelligence in terms of being connected to the net and having some sort of computing power is going to be something we are going to see in a lot of inanimate subjects now. The last one I would like to talk about is it doesn't sound very exciting, but I think it's going to have a lot of practical applications going forward, is how we are going to end up using 3D printing. So 3D printers right now are just a novelty. Nobody uses it for anything of consequence. There are few 3D printers here and there, and people use it for making jewelry or for making novelties, which are given here and there. But there doesn't seem to be very serious commercial application to it. But actually, actually it's gone pretty far ahead. There's a company in Mumbai, Imaginarium, which has been working on 3D printing for the last 20 years now. And what they do is they have a complete stranglehold on the jewelry market. So most of the jewelry that we see nowadays is actually made on 3D printed molds and then is converted into metal. Various other applications that are there, which include medical applications. So you can reprint organs, you can make copies of organs so that the surgeons can have a look at it before they go into a surgery. Prosthetics, both for limbs and for other places, you can have a lot of things that can be made. Yes. So there's a lot of biological tissue which is also being 3D printed. And in fact, they have grafted entire skin of toads also, and they have 3D printed that. So the possibilities of what you can do with 3D printing is very high. In a lot of countries, including the Gulf and the US, 3D printing is being used to make houses. And in China, it has been taken completely to a different level. They are having a 6-story, 7-story building, which is just 3D printed. So that way, it is pretty interesting. So that is another technology that I'm extremely excited about. Now, why did I tell you about these technologies? I think one of the reasons I want to tell you is, as I was telling earlier, there is going to be very little people who are going to be looking at degrees when they are giving jobs now. They want to know what you know and how you can use it. That is what is going to become very important. You have to acquire demonstrable technical skill to be taken seriously, whether in a startup or whether in any other context. So, how are you going to be able to develop your specific skill sets? So, you obviously in the college, you're given a lot of chances to do like projects, you are given a lot of chances to do a lot of assignments, which allow you to practically use what you have learned. If you are not going to do that, then the knowledge is not going to be of much use to you. Also, knowledge keeps on changing, and there is new knowledge every 5 or 6 years. Python as a language did not exist in our imagination 5 years back. Right now, it is the second most used language across the world. So, in these kind of circumstances, you will have to keep updated and you have to keep on updating yourself as you're going forward. I think one of the important skills that we need to have is learning to learn. Unless you have the ability to learn on a continuous basis, you are going to get caught out with some lack of knowledge somewhere. Now, the last thing I would like to also say over here is it is not just the technical knowledge that you have. You also need to, it's not a breadth of the knowledge. You need to have some depth in knowledge. How do you end up telling others that you know a little bit more than the other 500 people who are trying for the same job? So there are two ways you can actually do it. How you can convince others that you actually knowledge than the rest of the applicants. One is you have to go very deep into one field. There should be one specific thing that you know a lot about. So let's say it is not just 3D printers I'm talking about. I'm going even more niche than that. Let us say you have learned a lot about how exactly is metal 3D printing going to progress. You have a lot of knowledge about that specific subfield. Now, one more way of doing it is at the intersection of two fields. Now, I talked about biotechnology becoming very important. Another thing which is becoming very important is artificial intelligence. Now, you can work on an intersection of these fields at the borderline of it. So, you are trying to combine two separate areas and come up with a field of your own. So we just right now we had Priyank talking about artificial tissues which can be 3D printed. So that is at the intersection of biotechnology and 3D printing. Similarly, you have to find some kind of an intersection and work on that. That is where things are going to get very interesting. We are headed for extremely uncertain times, and it's not because of COVID. It had already started, and it is just going to get accelerated with COVID. Let me give you some broad stats of how things are going on. So the world is expected to lose something like 100 crore jobs by 2025 in 5 years' time. Out of those 100 crore jobs, 20 crore jobs are going to be lost only in India. And these jobs are not just the physical and unskilled jobs. We are talking also about the skilled part of things. Already, we are seeing a lot of companies which have gone in for layoffs. Cognizant has laid off 9,000 people. TCS has a plan of laying off people which they have not yet announced. Wipro has already laid off about 4,000 people. Infosys has laid off a similar number of people. And I'm just talking about the IT sector. I go and teach at Jamshedpur. Jamshedpur, we have Tata Steel and we have Tata Motors. Both of these factories are reasonably closed for huge points of time before COVID happened. They were opening up about 2 days of the week only because there wasn't enough sales. So these were things that had already got into motion before COVID happened. COVID happened, and these all got sort of accelerated a little bit. So we are looking at a time where there is going to be a large level of unemployment. So what do you do in that period of unemployment? You have to find employment for yourself, and you have to also become an employment creator by starting your own enterprise. There is just no other way out. There are going to be too few jobs for all of you to be able to find jobs. Yes, Infosys, Unilever, ONGC, all of them have announced job cuts. So job cuts are going to be across board. It is not. There are two things over here. One is a lot of companies are currently not doing well. That is one. And second is a lot of technologies have come about which are making people redundant. They don't need the people all that very much anymore. So we have automation in marketing. So we don't need people who are going to do sales as much. We have automation in production. So we don't need people over there also. Maruti used to have about 500 people working in one production line, and they used to produce about 50 to 100 cars in a day. Now they have 50 people producing about 500 cars on that same line. So things are completely changed around right now. ONGC running at a loss. We are likely to see a huge amount of losses from a lot of other companies. Telco, there's a rumor, I don't think it is true, but there's a rumor that they're actually going to sell their passenger car division. The passenger car division, which has given us things like Indica, which has given us things like the Nano, of course, and so many other. Nexon is there. There are so many other interesting cars that they had. They have had a great run, but they are probably going to end up selling that. So we are seeing a lot of stress in the market right now, and that is going to result in a complete change in the way business is conducted. Yes, I think we have to keep on learning all the time. There are things which we have to learn now, which weren't there earlier. We hadn't heard about AI about 5 years back. Right now, it is one of the most important technologies going around. If you go about 20 years back, the internet was completely irrelevant. We had just heard about the fact that there's something called the internet. We were not even using it. Mobile phone also came into our life only about 20, 22 years back. So all of these things are new to us, and they're going to revolutionize our life. And it is important for us to stay technically relevant by having the current set of knowledge, but we need to keep on updating that knowledge all the time. It's a lot like doctors in the US. So they have to take an examination every 5 years if they want to continue practicing medicine. Otherwise, they're not allowed to practice medicine. So similarly, we'll have to keep ourselves updated with whatever is the latest thing out there. So just wanted to say that that was my talk for the day. Thank you very much for being here and for being a part of this. Do let me know if you have any questions or anything specific that you want me to concentrate on. Thank you. Sure, Pooja. Any of you who have queries right now, of course, you can ask me. In case you want to get in touch with me later, my email ID is Rajeev Roy, RajeevRoy at xlri.ac.in. I'm just putting it down right now. Thank you, Jai Bajrangbali, to you too. Harsh, there'll always be a good set of people who are more than willing to discuss all great ideas. You just have to find the right people. Sometimes you'll go far to find them. Thank you, Sudhir. Thanks, Pooja. Thank you, everyone. It was really nice having a chance to interact with you. Any of you who are interested in any of the things that I've talked about, do stay in touch. It was lovely being able to address you. All the best. Thank you.